Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of 2 Minutes to Review. It's Matt.
And it's Zach.
Longest album review in under 2 minutes wins. We also have a discussion about the album. And this time, going a little rogue on this one. This was something that I suggested kind of on a whim. I'll get a little bit more into it later on. But this one, The Fourth Offering from Beartooth, Below.
I have to be honest, I am not as familiar with the band's catalog. I know of the band and their history a little bit. For those who don't, it's basically the brainchild of Caleb Shomo. And he actually plays all the instruments in the studio. So he has a live band, but produces it, all the records since the band formed in 2012 after he left a relatively popular band called Attack Attack. It might sound a little snarky the way I said it there, because I think it's fair to say that Attack Attack had a bit of a stigma attached to them as for being kind of, I don't want to say a joke, but definitely weren't taken seriously. And then Caleb came pretty much out of left field when he left the band with this hardcore metalcore band that has really taken over fans. I always am like, wow, they're ranked pretty high on this festival bill, and they're getting big tours. They do really well on social media and all the streaming platforms. And like I said, they have a really big, loyal following. And for some reason, I've just, never really given them the chance to listen to it. So when Matt suggested, hey, let's review this record, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's see what all the fuss is about.
Yeah, and, I've heard the band in the past. And, I liked a tune here or there. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. But that was really about it. And when I heard, and, this is gonna go to my review a little bit. So you know what? Let's just get into the reviews. I'll go first. I'll start talking about it. But before we do that, I have to give a big shout out to Lucky 13 Beard Co., our sponsors right here in New Jersey. They got small batch made beard balms and oils. If you've never tried them before, you owe it to yourself to make yourself feel good every now and again. If you ever woken up with like a really stiff beard and you wanted to just, soften it up without having to go in the shower, this is definitely what you're going to want to throw on there. He's got so many different scents, from cherry cola, my favorite, tobacco vanilla. He's got a creamsicle one, a Fruit Loops one, another tropical one based on his honeymoon. I think he went to like Hawaii or something. So, if that's your vibe, absolutely go ahead and try it. And we've got 10% off of your entire order, EFP10 at checkout. Put it in, and you're going to want to go visit him on his website, lucky13beardco.com. Make sure you put in the number 13. Or if you have his Etsy address from all the other times we've talked about him, etsy.com/shop/lucky13, the number Beardco. Once again, EFP10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order.
You can't beat that. Treat yourself, guys, and ladies, treat your guy as well. And it's, you might enjoy the smell as well. Matt, you said you wanted to go first?
Yep, let's do this.
I wish I could make Beartooth puns, but I can't. So I'll just make
devastating.
Oh, that is a good one.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm fed up with your lack of Beartoothness.
Oh, to hell with it. No, what? No, that's not right, is it? Was that a good pun? Let me check my notes. Oh, the hell of it. I came so close. This is so below me. 3, 2, 1, go.
So like I was mentioning earlier, I heard the song Devastation and I was immediately pulled in. And I think that this is one of the albums that if you really sit there and go through the album, I think you're going to become a fan of the band, because I know that I was after going through this entire album for this review. It's honestly one of the band's heaviest albums to date, and Caleb Shomo actually said that that's what they were kind of going for. They were going for something really heavy, and I think they succeeded, because they've been described as like a hardcore punk style band. This is definitely way more hardcore than punk on here, and it's still accessible for fans of the band, from years and years ago. Songs like "The Past Is Dead," it's something that past fans are definitely going to get in on. And a song like "Fed Up," it really encompasses all of the band's, old stuff and their future direction. So I really dig that. And I really like, too, that they just don't try to drive your head into the speaker the entire time. They do kind of back it off a little bit toward the end on a song called "The Answer." And finally, what really kind of surprised me at the end was a track called The Last Riff, a complete instrumental, a total headbanger, and it's also very reminiscent, at least in my opinion, of Black Sabbath. So that's really cool to me. So if you're looking for something new to check out, maybe you just clicked on this picture and you're looking for, new music, definitely check this album out when it comes out because you are going to enjoy it because I know I did.
Time's locked in. So sounds like you liked it. Out of 5 stars, what would you give its ranking?
1.
Oh, you
No.
do not like things, huh?
No. It's
now, what's your real ranking?
It's a 4-star.
Wow, 4-star.
Yeah. See, it's really hard for me to give a bad ranking on anything, but something like this. No, and I know that's going to sound bad, but it's hard for me to give a bad ranking. Like for me to give anything below, 3 is, getting into the territory of unlistenable. Like spoilers for one of our other episodes, like The Offspring, when we reviewed their latest album, Let the Bad Times Roll, there was production issues all over the board. And there was just songs on there that we kind of questioned why they were on there. And, so at that point, it's like, you're questioning what the band's motives are. You could definitely tell that there's a lot of heart and a lot of soul in this particular album. And the sheer aggression that I get off of this album, and I know a lot of people are probably going to give me flack for what I'm about to say, but I don't care. And you can let me know in the comments what you think of this. To me, this almost is like a band kind of changing, like Killswitch Engage changed into the End of Heartache album. And when Howard Jones first came on and how huge that album was for them. And I feel that this is going to be kind of a similar album for Beartooth, that a lot of people who normally wouldn't listen to Beartooth are going to hear a song like Devastation because it's got those hardcore elements. It's got that very interesting guitar sound. You don't hear a lot of guitar sounds like what I got off of this album. And I really think that the catchiness of the choruses are going to hook a lot of people in, kind of like the End of Heartache and how that blew up Killswitch. I'm not saying it's going to go to that level, but I really feel that this is going to be that differentiation from their last album, Aggressive, into this album, Below. It's going to be the same thing like Killswitch did from Alive or Just Breathing into the End of Heartache.
Big claim.
I stick by it.
Do you think I agree?
Do I think you agree? I don't know. Should you agree? Probably.
Let's find out. Count me down, boy. I don't know why I said boy. Yeah, I don't know why.
This isn't Pantera. You're not.
I literally was thinking like, well, why am I wasting a Pantera reference in this episode? Walk on home, boy. Can you show me some respect? Can you show me some respect?
Just walk.
Sorry.
3, 2, 1, go.
So when I listen to songs like the title track, Dominate, Fed Up, Hell of It, I'm really impressed. But I'm also couldn't help but think that this is what Every Time I Die would sound like if they incorporated pop punk hooks. In fact, I'd even go as far as to say that this album might be exactly what I'd expect, quote, Warped Tour metal to sound like. It's got aggressive breakdowns, guttural singing, heavy riffs that then suddenly out of nowhere get interrupted by borderline pop punk choruses. That's a compliment, by the way. I'm not dissing it because that's actually pretty good. I think songs like Devastation and The Past is Dead really capture that sound best and are really, really hooky and catchy. And it does, though, make me wonder, will metal purists even admit to listening to this, let alone liking it? And while I'll admit this, from when the songs I did hear from them in the past, this material is definitely way, way heavier and more, quote, traditional metal sounding than their past. But at the same time, I was really taken aback by how much pop punk influence I heard throughout the album, maybe even a little bit more than the traditional metal aspects that Caleb says that he was incorporating. This is going to be controversial, but songs like Skin and I Won't Give It Up, well, they're definitely fun and catchy. I actually don't think they're really a metal song. It sounds more like a straight up pop punk song with metalcore distorted guitar. And it kind of threw me off a little bit. But you would think I said all that, it should turn me off. And, I admit at some points, it was so poppy that I kind of experienced a sugar crash at certain parts of the album. But I can't help but find myself enjoying it still. It's obvious that Caleb can write a hell of a catchy metalcore song. One that definitely will get you headbanging, but at the same time can sing along in melody of it. I mean, these are some songs that, despite how aggressive they sound, can definitely be radio friendly and radio ready. So if you don't mind a little catchiness with your metalcore, or just simply, open to, a pop metal album, you will definitely get a kick out of Below. I know I did.
And what would your star rating be out of 5?
I keep going back between 3 and 3.5. I don't think it's as revolutionary or game changing as you feel it is, maybe for the band, but maybe part of it is I'm still taken aback by how pop punkish it sounds. And I don't know why I'm surprised, because if you look at the band's history, or if you look at Caleb's history, but also the band's history of touring on the Warped Tour. I know they toured with Slipknot, but they've also been with A Day to Remember and a bunch of bands that kind of fit the Warped Tour family, right? But are still heavy metal. But I guess because I've been reading about how this is such a heavy metal album, that I was like, wait a minute, this is a pop punk song with distortion. And that's not necessarily terrible. I love pop punk too. I guess but like I said, and there's definitely moments I'm like, oh man, this is a tasty Every Time I Die riff. Like, this is a tasty metalcore in your face banger. And I realized I probably lost so much credit by saying tasty metalcore riff, but I was definitely taken aback from how poppy it was. You mentioned about the last track, the last riff, the instrumental. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like there's some moments where I felt like, all right, the songs like Devastation, like, yeah, this is, heavy and it's focused. But then there's some stuff like that last song, the instrumental, that I felt like, all right, this is just kind of being chugga for the sake of it. Like, I didn't actually think that really went anywhere special. And it kind of was a bummer that that's how the album ended. But it's still very well written. I mean, it's obvious that Caleb is extremely talented. And it's fascinating because the last 2 minutes to review episode we did was with Mammoth WVH. And it's kind of similar in that Wolfgang Van Halen recorded all the instruments and vocals himself on that record. And here we are talking about another album, but very different sounding. And I would argue that I definitely am not as necessarily surprised to hear that it's all Caleb, but I appreciate how obviously talented he is with each instrument, but also how fresh it sounds.
Yeah, and that's one of the things.
Maybe not even fresh, like just
no, I like that.
Well, no, right. I know you like that, but I'm trying to be more accurate here.
Well, no, but I like fresh because with the Wolfgang review that we did, it did sound like, this is something you could have heard before. This is definitely more unique, and I like that it's unique. And the guitar sound that they get on this, I don't know how much time they spent on it or how many layers of guitar are in this. It almost sounds buzzsaw-like. One of the things that I do like about this, and there's only one other band that I can really compare to say that they have almost a truly unique guitar sound that nobody else uses, and that would be Static X. They almost have like it sounds like somebody plugged electric into just an amplifier and let it go. I mean, I've never heard a guitar sound like that. I love that about Static X. And I feel with Beartooth, they've managed to do something along the same vein. And then you also mentioned that pop punk. And I also feel like that's very refreshing because another band I tried to listen to numerous times over the years, and I'm going to get some more shit for this, and I know it. I can't get into Hatebreed. I never have been able to, and I've tried so many times.
They're the AC/DC of metalcore, in that you know what you're going to get. It's the same chugga riff.
I could never get into Hatebreed, and everybody praises Hatebreed, but with something like this is hardcore with that pop punkiness that I really feel helps introduce people to this. And this album, I feel with the catchiness that they do bring into it, will get more people into this type of stuff.
It's definitely it's another good gateway album. I agree with that. Although I'm glad you mentioned about the guitars, because something that was kind of irking me, and I don't know if it's because of the copy that we have to review it, or like just my speakers or whatever.
See,
but it's funny, like, because
exactly
this album,
what you're talking about.
Yeah, this this band, I should say, Caleb was very adamant that while Attack Attack had a little bit more electronic elements to it, this was much more aggressive rock, hard rock, not hard rock, like punk rock, hardcore kind of actual instrumentation. And to me, I'm like, there's some cool riffs, but it kind of sounds more electronic than I kind of was expecting as well.
Okay,
but I think it goes into what you were saying about the buzz or the
it's the guitar sound. It sounds like a buzzsaw, and that's not a bad thing. But one of the things that I know irked me a little bit when I first started listening to it, the opening track of the album, and it escapes me, so I apologize. But
below the self-title,
below
that's the title track,
yeah. So with that song, the guitar is panned hard right, and everything else is kind of swept right to left, and it really creates this unbalanced sound, which on that track I didn't like. But it gets better throughout the rest of the album, which is kind of why I don't ding it, because it's only one song. And
I didn't hear that, like the wave almost of what you're hearing. No, I didn't hear that. It was just literally there's some like, actually I thought that track, most of the album, I actually was like, no, this sounds good.
Yeah.
There's a few moments and I forget even actually the songs I pointed out, like Skin, I Won't Give It Up. I kind of felt like I was listening to more like overproduced guitar, to the point that it was like, if you had told me this is going to sound bad, if it was a keyboard playing the riff instead of a guitar. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what my mind went to, but if someone said that, I wouldn't necessarily argue with it. Like, it felt a little, I don't know if it was electronic or just maybe a little overproduced, but then there are elements of the album that do feel natural and that do feel just aggressive as hell.
So before we go any further, you never gave your star rating. 3 or 3.5?
No, I was hoping you'd ignore it. I'm going to go with 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's very good, and I'm sure it'll be a ton of fun to see them play live some of these songs. But I'm going to stick to 3. And you know what? But here, let's be real. None of this matters, Matt. None of it matters. What really matters is the score, is the timing. Matt.
That's right. The past is dead. I don't know why I just did that.
No, that was great. That was gold. We're keeping that in. You know what? For the hell of it, I'm going to tell you your score. Or your timing, I guess. You came in at 1 minute and 43 seconds.
Yeah. That's how you play this game.
So what did I do?
Well, I think we're honestly going to have to open this up to 3 minutes for you. Because you can't.
No, BS.
You can't stay under 2 minutes if your life depended on it at this point.
I can totally do that. I'm not always over 2 minutes. How bad now this time?
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
I've done worse. Listen, there's been some episodes I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I already know I'm going to go over. I have things to say. But you know what? Let us know what you think. Do you agree with us? Do you think that Beartooth are the future of metalcore? That they really are revolutionizing the genre? Or do you feel like they're missing something? Let us know on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Epic Footnote. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can hear more podcasts like this, as well as see some really cool video content. Thank you to our sponsor, Lucky 13 Beard Co. Go to lucky13beardco.com. Use the code EFP10 when you check out so that you can receive 10% off of your order. I'm telling you, you can't beat that. Thank you, Lucky 13 Beard Co. And thank you all for listening. And we hope you join us for another episode really, really soon.
See ya.